we started. Good evening, namaskar, welcome. This is George Abraham. Welcome to Eyeway Eyeway Encounters. Eyeway Encounters happens once a month. Every month we select a topic and we have a speaker who speaks to us. And we also record this session, and these sessions are available later on YouTube on the Eyeway India channel. So even if some of your friends want to watch it later on, you can visit the Eyeway India channel and have the opportunity of seeing this particular video as well as previous videos as well. Eyeway is basically an information resource on living life with blindness. ये आईवे जो दृष्टिबाधित लोग हैं उन दृष्टिबाधिता के साथ जिंदगी जीने का एक जानकारी का स्रोत है. एंड वी ऑल्सो रन अ हेल्प डेस्क. हम लोग एक हेल्पलाइन भी रन करते हैं. हेल्पलाइन का नंबर है 180053204669. तो अगर आप जिंदगी जो ब्लाइंडनेस के साथ जो जिंदगी जीने के बारे में जानकारी जानना चाहते हैं तो आप कॉल कर सकते हैं उस नंबर पे. ये नंबर हम अपने चैट बॉक्स में भी डालेंगे ताकि आप बाद में भी रेफर कर सकें. आज का जो सब्जेक्ट है, विषय है, इट इज एक्सेसिबल इलेक्शन, सुगम्य चुनाव. So most people on this session today are disabled, and the idea is to get some information and be empowered to know what the Election Commission and the government has offered us as people with disability, as to how we can avail of support from the Election Commission and the government to be able to cast our votes. So our speaker today is Smitha Sadasivan. She is based out of Chennai, and she has been working as a consultant with the Election Commission for India for a few years, and she has been an activist. Can I request you to mute yourself, please? Hello. Sana, can you just mute this person?
Srinivaslu, mute. Srinivaslu.
Yes,
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So the idea is that we become aware of what our rights are as people with disability, so that we are able to participate in the elections and vote. As you know, in November, there are 5 states where elections are happening. And next year in May, June, July, there would be the national elections. So it's good to be empowered and aware. And Smitha has been involved with campaigning for accessible elections almost from 2009. And she has been formally working as a consultant with the Election Commission of India for a few years. And today she's going to speak with us. Before she starts speaking, Sana, gentlemen, you can read.
hello everyone, could you please mute yourselves?
Hi. Shall we start?
Just one second. Let me see if I can just.
Srinivasluji, please mute yourself.
Vinny should also mute. Vinny Bavle.
Hello.
Hello.
यस मैम, मैं ये कर रहा हूँ कि जो इस आईवे सेशन का जो जूम का लिंक है, इस लिंक का RSBI एक क्लास चलता है, उसमें सेंड किए हैं।
जी
Send
उसमें
you
क्या
all.
WhatsApp group है? Sir, I don't know why, but I'm not able to mute everyone.
Okay, no,
I
anyway,
can.
I think this Srinivas Lu is now muted, so it's okay.
There are a lot of people who are on unmute. Like,
Yeah, no, that's okay. As long as they're quiet, it's okay.
yeah.
So, Smitha, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, George, for this opportunity. And it's really a good feel to talk about elections, and we are also approaching the 2024 elections, and everybody should come together for this. And so this is a very good start. So I would like to start with the history of accessible elections in India. Way back in 2023, Mr. Javed Abidi approached the Election Commission saying that there are no accessible features in the polling stations, and we need ramps, we need sign language interpreters, we need wheelchairs to go in. But he could not get a meeting with ECI, and he actually conducted a dharna before ECI, and he wrote a letter to the Supreme Court. And following that, the Supreme Court gave a direction in 2004 saying that all polling stations should have ramps. They should allow a companion with a voter with disability, and also sensitization should happen with the election machinery, and wheelchair should be permitted, and for people with hearing impairment there should be adequate facility on communication. So these were the directions given by the Supreme Court way back in 2004. And from then onwards, the disability sector have been following it, and have been advocating towards the implementation of the Supreme Court direction. And again, the blind movement, the people with visual impairment advocated for braille EVM, and this work started happening in Hyderabad, which got tested by the ECI, and it got implemented in 2009. And at the same time, HRLN also filed public interest litigations across the country in 2004, and got orders for accessible elections in Maharashtra. Disability Rights Alliance from Tamil Nadu started advocating. Actually, we have been advocating from 2003 onwards. Whereas from 2009, there was a focused measure, and we started also, creating models, collaborating with the chief electoral officers, etc. And in 2014 elections, and thereafter, Adi Delhi accessibility, Adi working in New Delhi, and along with Dr. Satyendra, worked towards, accessible elections. They created models, they created a lot of resources, and collaborated with the chief electoral officer of Delhi. And in 2015, there was a disability dialogue on political participation which happened in Sri Lanka. It was conducted by IFAS, International Foundation for Electoral Systems, and that is where the Sybosa resolution was signed by the SAARC countries' election commissioners. And along with the Sybosa resolution, we adopted a 9-point agenda. I was also there, and Mr. Javed Abidi was also there from India. And the disability movement from across the world, we came up with a 9-point agenda on inclusive elections, which was also signed along with the Sybosa resolution in 2015. After coming back from the
Just
Sybosa
one second. Just one sec,
conference,
Smitha.
we took the 9-point agenda, and we kept pushing it, advocated with the chief electoral officer of Tamil Nadu, and also the Election Commission of India. And at that time, it was Sri O.P. Rawat, who was the election commissioner and who signed the Sybosa resolution. And simultaneously, in at that time, the HRLN Kerala filed a public interest litigation in the Kerala High Court, and got an order favoring voting rights of people with mental disability. So, different works were happening at different areas of the country in different pockets, and everybody came together. So we shared information, we shared models, or the successful work with each other, and everybody pushed their chief electoral officers and at their states, and also coming together at the national level. And this resulted in a great set of notifications which came from Election Commission of India in 2016. And so the 2016 notifications had specifically a mention of nodal officers, appointing nodal officers for accessible elections, and also to have accessible awareness activities and awareness materials for people with disabilities. It also mentioned about the mapping of people with disabilities in every polling station, apart from enrollment, accessible arrangements and facilitations to enroll voters with disabilities, and accessible polling stations according to the Government of India standards. And it is not just, a steep ramp, but it has to follow the Government of India standards.
One sec,
The appropriate the
Smitha.
handrails and all those things. Okay, please go ahead.
I think there's a lot you have already said, so let me just briefly summarize it in Hindi.
Sure.
ये जो हमारे जो इलेक्शन प्रणाली है कई सालों से चल रहा है, 1951 से चल रहा है, पर दिव्यांग या डिसेबल लोगों के लिए बारे में के जो सुविधाएं हैं उसके बारे में ज़्यादा सोच नहीं किया गया। जावेद अबीदी साहब जो NCPEDP के जो एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर थे, उन्होंने 2002-03 के ज़माने में उन्होंने इलेक्शन कमीशन को अप्रोच किया और सरकार को अप्रोच किया और ये मांग किया कि देश में जो इलेक्शंस होते हैं, चुनाव होते हैं, वो सुगम्य होना चाहिए, वो एक्सेसिबल होना चाहिए, ताकि जो डिसेबल्ड लोग हैं वो भी उसमें अपना वोट दे सके। पर इसमें कोई जवाब या रिस्पांस मिला नहीं, तो उस समय जावेद साहब ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में केस दायर किया और फिर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने निर्देश दिया कि दिव्यांग लोगों या विकलांग लोगों को इलेक्शन प्रणाली में शामिल करना चाहिए और उनके लिए फैसिलिटीज़ अरेंज करना चाहिए। और इसी दौरान ह्यूमन राइट्स लॉ नेटवर्क जो एक वकीलों का एक संस्था है, वो भी देश के अलग अलग जगहों पे केस किया ताकि इलेक्शंस सुगम्य बने, एक्सेसिबल बने। और 2004 और 2014 के बीच में काफ़ी ऐसे कार्रवाई हुआ देश के अलग अलग जगहों पे, राष्ट्रीय लेवल पर और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय लेवल पर, कि इलेक्शन जहाँ भी हो वहाँ पर विकलांग लोगों को भी शामिल करना चाहिए, उनको भी सुविधाएं देना चाहिए जो वो चुनाव में पार्टिसिपेट करें। और एक conference हुआ था। When did the conference in Sri Lanka happen? In 2009, is it?
2015.
2015, हाँ। So 2015 में श्रीलंका में एक कॉन्फ्रेंस हुआ था जिसमें सार्क देशों के जो इलेक्शन कमिश्नर्स हैं वो लोग एक एग्रीमेंट साइन किया जिसमें कई प्रावधान थे जो दिव्यांग लोगों को इलेक्शंस में शामिल होने के लिए। और कोर्ट और कई एक्टिविटीज़ की वजह से ये हुआ कि हर इलेक्शन पोलिंग बूथ में कई फैसिलिटीज़ देने के लिए अनिवार्य बनाए। वो लिस्ट अभी स्मिता आगे आपको बताएंगे कि हमें क्या क्या फैसिलिटीज़ हैं। पर हैदराबाद में एक दृष्टिबाधित लोगों के लिए एक ब्रेल ईवीएम मशीन का भी निर्माण किया गया था और उसका परीक्षण हुआ, उसके बारे में भी आगे बताएंगे मैडम। तो in a conceptual way, it was agreed upon across the country that विकलांग लोग इलेक्शन में अपना वोट देना है और क्या क्या सुविधा है ये अभी आगे बताएंगे। So, can you, we'll just go a little slow in terms of the volume of content so that I don't miss out everything on
Yeah,
the translation. Yeah.
Sure, I'll
Okay.
do. So I'm again repeating the 2016 notification from the Election Commission of India, which was a very significant notification based on the Sybosa resolution advocacy and the cross movement from across the country of the disability community. So it had for the first time the appointment of nodal officers to deal with accessible elections, and which is a
let me just come in here.
Yeah.
2016 का जो डायरेक्टिव था ये सिम्बोसा कॉन्फ्रेंस के बाद, उसमें कहा गया कि हर स्टेट में एक नोडल इलेक्शन ऑफिसर होना चाहिए, ऑफिस होना चाहिए, जो ये सुपरवाइज करेंगे कि मॉनिटर करेंगे कि इलेक्शंस सुगम्य है कि नहीं. Basically, the nodal office is responsible for making sure that the elections are inclusive, accessible. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the nodal officer may be deputed from another department like the disability department, or can be deputed from the election department itself.
हाँ, तो ये नोडल ऑफिसर जो है ये वेलफेयर डिसेबिलिटी वेलफेयर डिपार्टमेंट में हो सकता है या किसी और डिपार्टमेंट में से भी हो सकता है, पर उनका काम सिर्फ ये है कि इलेक्शंस सुगम्य हो और पोलिंग बूथ्स जो है वो एक्सेसिबल हो. Yeah.
Right. And then the other things were about ensuring accessible materials on awareness, election awareness, and also mapping of persons with disabilities for every booth. Enrollment, apart from enrollment, how to gather data and then map persons with disabilities for every booth. So these were elaborately mentioned. And apart from
let me just finish this also. तो इस नोडल ऑफिसर का एक और ड्यूटी था कि जो अवेयरनेस मटेरियल है, इलेक्शंस का जो अवेयरनेस मटेरियल है वो सुगम्य हो, यानी कि जो दिव्यांग या विकलांग लोग हैं वो उसको पढ़ सके और जानकारी प्राप्त कर सके. तो एक तो जानकारी सुगम्य हो, दूसरा ये भी पता करे कि दिव्यांग लोग कहाँ कहाँ हैं, कितने लोग हैं, उनको मैप करना. तो हर चुनावी क्षेत्र जो है, इन एवरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी, नोडल ऑफिसर हर पोलिंग स्टेशन में उनको ये पता करना था कि ये दिव्यांग लोग कितने हैं, कौन कौन से दिव्यांगता है और कहाँ कहाँ रहते हैं, और उनको एनरोल करना है, यानी कि उनका जो वोटर्स लिस्ट में उनका नाम लाना है. तो ये उनका इट इज देयर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, द नोडल ऑफिस का रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है.
And then the notification also mentioned about accessible arrangements to enroll voters with disabilities and accessible standards to be complied by all the polling stations as per the Government of India standards, and polling infrastructure apart from the booths, the building, the polling infrastructure and information should be accessible, and also the election websites.
तो जो इनका ये भी ड्यूटी है कि हर पोलिंग स्टेशन एक्सेसिबल हो, जो सूचना वहां से दिया जाता है वो सब एक्सेसिबल हो, और जो पोलिंग का जो प्रोसेस है वो भी एक्सेसिबल हो. तो जो भारत सरकार का जो भी इलेक्शन का जो एक्सेसिबिलिटी स्टैंडर्ड्स है, क्या वो इम्प्लीमेंट हो रहा है कि नहीं, यही है ये नोडल ऑफिस का जिम्मेदारी, और ये हर पोलिंग स्टेशन का जिम्मेदारी लेते हैं ये लोग.
And the disability movement advocated very strongly, and with the efforts of Disability Rights Alliance Tamil Nadu, we got an exclusive direction to make the elections accessible for just one constituency in Chennai, which is the RK Nagar constituency. This is a huge step towards accessible elections movement. And
this was a pilot activity, is it?
Yeah, not really pilot, but actually that one particular constituency was focused more, and accessible elections were not really focused upon because of the other issues. So the Disability Rights Alliance brought this to the notice of the Election Commission, and the Election Commission of India gave a standalone direction for that particular constituency alone, that particular elections alone.
No, if I might ask you, why was only one place done when disabled people are there
Yeah,
all over the country?
because it was an election of significance, and due to other reasons, other political reasons, and other governance reasons, accessibility took a backstage. Though the Disability Rights Alliance was trying to collaborate with the Chief Electoral Officer and trying to make the polling stations accessible in that particular constituency. Therefore, we put up the issues that we have been facing at that particular constituency in that by-election, and then ECI gave an order, a direction for that particular by-election alone.
So, which year was this?
2017.
So 2017 में इलेक्शन कमिश्नर ने एक चेन्नई में एक आरके नगर का जो पोलिंग बूथ है वहां पर उन्होंने कहा कि ये पूरी तरह सुगम्य इलेक्शन किया जाए। इसका राजनीतिक और सरकारी कारणों से एक ही इलेक्शन बूथ में उन्होंने ये एक परीक्षण के रूप से इन्होंने इसको फॉलो किया। पर जो डिसेबिलिटी मूवमेंट है उन्होंने ये कहा कि ये पूरी भारत में ये व्यवस्थाएं उपलब्ध करना चाहिए। या
So following that, in the same year, I became the accessibility consultant for ECI. They offered me the position, and then we came up with different facilitations, like at the international and national level, we started discussions and training programs on accessible elections. And the 2018 National Voters Days theme was given as accessible elections, and we also came up with icons with disability at the national and the state level as ambassadors for accessible elections.
तो 2017 में स्मिता सदाशिवन को इलेक्शन कमीशन का एक कंसल्टेंट के रूप में अपॉइंटमेंट किया गया, और उन्होंने इलेक्शन कमीशन के साथ बहुत राष्ट्रीय लेवल पर और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय लेवल पर काम किया। और 2018 में जब वोटर्स इंटरनेशनल वोटिंग डे मनाया गया तो उसका थीम था एक्सेसिबल इलेक्शंस, और कई आइकॉन्स को अपॉइंट किया गया जो इलेक्शन को एक्सेसिबल बनाने के लिए एम्बेसडर्स थे। These icons were people, right? Who advocated for
people with disabilities.
हाँ, तो 2018 में कई ऐसे दिव्यांग लोगों को नियुक्त किया गया ताकि वो एक्सेसिबल इलेक्शन के लिए एडवोकेसी करें और प्रचार करें, राइट?
I would also like to give a special mention that we had an icon, we had an ambassador for people with intellectual disability who took the torch forward to enroll and to promote awareness among people with intellectual and psychosocial disabilities to be voters and be part of the electoral system.
और इसका एक खास बात ये भी था कि इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबिलिटी जो है, जो हमेशा उसको अलग हटाया जाता है, उनमें भी एक आइकॉन को एम्बेसडर को चुना गया, और वो जो मेंटल डिसेबिलिटी है, इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबिलिटी है, ऐसे लोगों के साथ भी प्रचार किया ताकि उनको भी शामिल करें और वो लोग पार्टिसिपेट करें। मेरे ख्याल से अगला इलेक्शन 2019 में था। 2019 was the next election, right?
Yes, 2019 was the Lok Sabha elections.
Yeah, okay.
Then we also had consultations with the stakeholders. Stakeholders meaning including persons with disabilities and the government officials, the academia, and the community workers. And it was a comprehensive consultation at the district level and the state level, and then culminated into at the national level. And we also came up with an etiquette for people with disabilities, voters with disabilities during the electoral process. Then there was, based on these recommendations from the consultation, the Election Commission came up with new notifications on providing wheelchairs at the polling station, and the provision of volunteers, both male and female volunteers at the polling station, and free transport from home to polling station and back, and also parking space for people with disabilities vehicles at the polling station.
Okay. तो 2019 इलेक्शन से पहले कंसल्टेशन हुआ था देश भर में, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल, स्टेट लेवल और नेशनल लेवल पर ये कंसल्टेशन हुआ था, जहां पर अलग अलग स्टेक होल्डर्स उसमें शामिल थे, कम्युनिटी के विकलांग लोग भी थे और सोसाइटी के लोग भी थे, सरकार के लोग भी थे, इलेक्शन कमीशन के लोग भी थे। और इस देश भर के जो कंसल्टेशन के फलस्वरूप एक रिकमेंडेशंस का एक डॉक्यूमेंट बनाया गया, जिसको इलेक्शन कमीशन ने एक्सेप्ट किया, और कई प्रावधान उसमें थे। एक ये था कि हर पोलिंग बूथ में व्हील चेयर्स होगा, ताकि जिनको भी व्हील चेयर की जरूरत है वो यूज करें। और फिर वॉलंटियर्स, मेल और फीमेल, बोथ पुरुष और फीमेल वॉलंटियर्स हर पोलिंग बूथ में होते हैं, जो सपोर्ट करते हैं, जैसे कि ब्लाइंड लोग हो या कोई लोग हो जिनको मदद चाहिए पोलिंग बूथ के अंदर जाने के लिए और वोट डालने के लिए जो मदद चाहिए, उसमें उनको सपोर्ट करते हैं। इसी प्रकार you had wheelchairs, you had volunteers, what else did you have?
Free transport and parking.
Okay, और फिर जो दिव्यांग लोग जो पोलिंग बूथ अपने आप आ नहीं सकते, उनके लिए मुफ्त में ट्रांसपोर्टेशन फैसिलिटी भी देना है, और अगर आप खुद अपने गाड़ी से आते हैं तो पोलिंग स्टेशन के पास ही पार्किंग का फैसिलिटीज भी दिव्यांग लोगों को दिया गया। So you said there are 4 broad facilities. One is the wheelchair facility, 2 is the volunteers, 3 is free transportation, and 4 parking. Is parking at the polling booth. Okay.
Yeah, these were the new notifications, and along with that, the system was set. So towards implementing at the district level, ECI also came up with notifications on accessible election committees at the district level, state level, and the national level, and also released a strategic framework on accessible elections, which very much emphasized on the partnership with the civil society organizations.
So what does this, har kshetra mein, in every place you said that every district you said there was a accessibility committee.
Yes.
So what is the purpose? What is the objective of this committee?
So
what would they
the committee will monitor, will discuss, and look at the implementation as well as monitor the implementation. The committee should have people with disabilities at the district, state, and national level. So this was the arrangement, and that is how the order, the notification was issued to the states.
So this will be at the district level, is it, the committees?
Yeah, district level, state level also. State Steering Committee on Accessible Elections, District Monitoring Committee on Accessible Elections, National Committee on Accessible Elections.
तो इलेक्शन सुगम्य होने के लिए इलेक्शन कमीशन ने डायरेक्टिव दिया था कि डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे कमिटीज हो, जिसमें कम्युनिटी के लोग हो, विकलांग लोग भी है और सरकार के लोग भी हैं, जो ये निर्धारित करेगा कि क्या ये इलेक्शंस में सारे जो प्रावधान है सुगम्य इलेक्शन के लिए जो प्रावधान है वो इम्प्लीमेंट हो रहा है कि नहीं, वो देखने के लिए, उसको ओवरसी करने के लिए ये इलेक्शन कमिटीज, एक्सेसिबल इलेक्शन कमिटीज को फॉर्म किया गया, हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में है, हर स्टेट में है और राष्ट्रीय लेवल पर है। और इन कमिटीज का मेन फोकस इलेक्शन को सुगम्य बनाने का है।
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the fifth thing. These committees is the fifth thing. The 4 facilities that you talked about earlier in terms of wheelchair, volunteers,
Right.
parking and free transport. And on top of that, you have these
Yeah.
committees to ensure that the elections are
Correct.
accessible. Okay.
Correct.
Then?
Yeah, and the notifications are implemented at the ground level. And so along with that, I also mentioned about the strategic framework on accessible elections, which was launched by the ECI, which had a specific mention on partnership with the civil society organizations at the ground level and at the state level.
Now the strategic framework is a little difficult to understand. So would you like to explain a little bit about what exactly do you mean by strategic framework?
Yeah. So as we saw, the national consultation on accessible elections culminated with the release of a strategic framework on accessible elections. It is a set of 13 pillars for accessible elections, and one of the strong pillar is the civil society partnership for accessible elections.
तो एक इलेक्शन कमीशन ने एक स्ट्रेटेजिक फ्रेमवर्क का घोषणा किया, जिसके अंतर्गत 13 पॉइंट्स है, 13 पिलर्स हैं, जिसमें एक महत्वपूर्ण पिलर ये भी था कि सिविल सोसाइटी यानी कि हमारे समाज के लोग भी इसमें शामिल हो और ये सुगम्य चुनाव में उनका योगदान दे. One pillar is the civil society. What are the other pillars?
Yeah, so the other pillars are like the committees, the polling station infrastructure and accessibility arrangements, and also the enrollment. So all these are part of those 13 pillars.
Okay, so it's not only the human factor, it's basically the various जो चुनाव के अलग अलग जो पहलू हैं, जैसे कि पोलिंग स्टेशन हो, पोलिंग का प्रोसेस हो, जो कमिटीज हैं, सिविल सोसाइटी के मेंबरान हैं, ये सब इस 13 कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी से 13 पिलर्स कॉन्स्टिट्यूट करते हैं, बनाते हैं, तो ताकि जो चुनाव है वो सुगम्य हो. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Along with that, the ECI came up with an announcement of EPIC in Braille, the voter ID card to be printed in Braille, based on the request by the blind movement. And apart from that, ECI also came up with access observers for every elections, like we have the general observers, specific observers to observe and report on accessibility of elections was also assigned.
But isn't this something which the accessibility committee was meant to do, or this is in addition to that?
Yeah, it is in addition to that, because every elections will have observers, official observers from ECI, appointed from ECI. They will look into the arrangements, and so for accessibility purpose, we came up with the observers specifically named access observers.
तो हर चुनाव में इलेक्शन कमीशन ने घोषणा किया और अपॉइंट किया ऑब्जर्वर्स को. वैसे भी इलेक्शंस के दौरान ऑब्जर्वर्स अलग अलग पहलुओं के डिफरेंट लेवल्स ऑफ ऑब्जर्वेशन इज डन, वेदर द इलेक्शन प्रोसेस इज फेयर, इलेक्शन इज हैपनिंग प्रॉपर्ली. उसी के अंतर्गत इलेक्शन कमीशन ने घोषणा किया कि हर इलेक्शन के दौरान एक्सेसिबिलिटी ऑब्जर्वर्स भी होंगे, और इनका जिम्मेदारी ये है कि इलेक्शंस का जो प्रोसेस चल रहा है वो सुगम्य है कि नहीं, वो देखने के लिए. So these accessible observers also will give a report at the end of the elections?
Yes. They will be sending the report to the Election Commission of India.
So who are these election observers? Are they people with disability, or they are
They are not people with disabilities. Actually, it is again a request from the disability movement, which is still pending. Whereas as of now, the access observers are like any other officials, the IAS officers or the IFAS officers, as well as the ITS officers.
basically Indian Foreign Service, Administrative Service, and the Police
Yes.
Service?
Yeah, basically administrative service.
ओके सो ये जो इस वक्त जो इलेक्शन ऑब्जर्वर्स हैं, जो एक्सेसिबिलिटी ऑब्जर्वर्स हैं, ये सरकारी ऑफिशियल्स हैं जो आईएएस या आईपीएस या आईएफएस केडर के होते हैं। हालांकि डिसेबिलिटी मूवमेंट का मांग ये है कि ये ऑब्जर्वर्स पीपल विद डिसेबिलिटी हो, ताकि थोड़ा और रिगरस ऑब्जर्वरशिप हो सके, राइट?
Yeah, and at the same time, ECI came up with an app, a mobile application called PWD app, and now the name is changed to Saksham app, which has all the facilitations, starting from we can identify ourselves as a voter with disability, we can book for a wheelchair, we can edit our details, or we can verify our details. So all these provisions can be done through the Saksham app also.
तो दो इंटरेस्टिंग डेवलपमेंट्स हैं। एक तो ये जो हमारे जो दिस ब्रेल कार्ड इज लाइक एन वोटर आईडी, इज इट?
Yes, the voter ID card itself has the braille print on it.
हाँ, तो जो दिव्यांग लोग हैं, जो दृष्टिबाधित लोग हैं, उनके लिए इलेक्शन कमीशन ने ब्रेल इलेक्शन वोटर आईडीज को इंस्टीट्यूट किया। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने एक सक्षम ऐप को भी लॉन्च किया, जिसके अंतर्गत आप अपना नाम वोटर आईडी में चेक कर सकते हैं, आपका पोलिंग बूथ वेरीफाई कर सकते हैं, और अगर आपको व्हीलचेयर चाहिए या वॉलंटियर सपोर्ट चाहिए, ये आप रिक्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं। अगर इवन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, राइट, यू कैन रिक्वेस्ट फॉर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एज वेल थ्रू द ऐप।
Yeah.
अगर आपको फ्री ट्रांसपोर्टेशन चाहिए पोलिंग बूथ तक पहुंचने के लिए, तो वो भी आप इस ऐप के माध्यम से सूचित कर सकते हैं, आप बुक कर सकते हैं। एंड यू कैन ऑल्सो चेक वेदर हु द कैंडिडेट्स आर यूजिंग द ऐप in your constitution.
Yeah, the candidate can also be checked in the app.
पोलिंग आपका जो कैंडिडेट लिस्ट है, जो इलेक्शन पे आपके कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जिसको आप वोट देंगे, उनके भी सारे नाम इस ऐप के माध्यम से आप एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। और इस ऐप का नाम है सक्षम ऐप। इज दिस ऐप एक्सेसिबल टू ब्लाइंड पीपल?
Yes, absolutely. It has been accessible.
It's verified and it's you're sure of it?
Yeah, because earlier there were issues in accessibility, so we have been raising it, and it has been sorted out one after the other. So it is fairly accessible for people with visual impairment.
Okay, so ये जो ऐप है, सक्षम ऐप है, and this is available at the App Store as well as the Play Store, or it's only in the Play Store?
I'm not sure of that. But yeah, in the Android app, I downloaded it from the Play Store.
Okay, but you're not sure about the iPhone part of it?
No, iPhone also can download it. Okay.
So ये ऐप दोनों iPhone as well as Android phones पे डाउनलोड किया जा सकता है। Okay, proceed.
So, and the recent development had been, as we all know, the postal ballot, where if despite all these provisions, if a person is not able to go to the polling station, then we can ask for postal ballot, where soon after the elections are announced, within 5 days, we need to have this postal ballot executed, and for which the form 12 will be provided to us at the home, and after signing form 12D, we can execute the postal ballot at the comfort of our homes.
तो अभी एक नया डेवलपमेंट ये है कि हम घर बैठे ही वोट कर सकते हैं। तो ये पोस्टल बैलेट या पोस्ट के माध्यम से वोट देने का एक प्रावधान है। तो जैसे ही इलेक्शन अनाउंस होते हैं, उसके 5 दिन के अंदर हमें अप्लाई करना है और इलेक्शन कमीशन को सूचित करना है कि हमें पोस्टल बैलेट चाहिए। तो फिर वो लोग 12D फॉर्म आपके घर में लाएंगे और आप साइन करके वो प्रोसेस को जब आप कंप्लीट करेंगे तो फिर आप घर बैठे अपना वोट आप दे सकते हैं. So you apply, how do you apply for this postal ballot? You use the app again or?
Yeah. So they have the mapping done in the polling booths, and for every person with disability, a voter with disability, they would provide, they would come home and provide Form 12D. What we need to ensure is we show them the disability certificate, like it has an eligibility criteria of benchmark disability, and once it is done, within 5 days, they would come again and take our votes in a very secured manner.
No, I didn't understand this. Who decides who is eligible for postal ballot?
Yeah.
Is it the election commission, or is it the person with disability who wants to volunteers that I want to vote from home? Who decides this?
It is the person who decides that I want to vote from home. But there is one mandatory criteria that we should be a person with benchmark disability. So, you should possess a valid disability ID card.
So when you say benchmark disability, you mean blind, hard of hearing, wheelchair bound, and basically the 7 disabilities.
No, 21 disability. So 40%
All 21.
about disability is benchmark disability.
Okay. So ये जो प्रावधान है, घर से वोट करने का जो प्रावधान है, the voting from home facility is given to people with benchmark disability. So if the people who have got 40% and above जो disability है, they can opt for voting from home if they want. And for availing this, you need to be number one on the पहली बात आप polling list में होना चाहिए. आपका नाम मैप करना, the election commission should have mapped your name, and you should have a valid disability certificate. So is it mandatory that it should be UDID, or it can be any, it can be any disability certificate?
It need not be
issued by a government hospital.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. तो ये जो इस घर से वोट करने के क्वालिफिकेशंस हैं, एक तो आपको यू शुड हैव अ बेंचमार्क डिसेबिलिटी, जो इसका मतलब आपका जो विकलांगता है 40% से ऊपर होना चाहिए, पहली बात. दूसरी बात, आपके पास एक वैलिड डिसेबिलिटी सर्टिफिकेट होना चाहिए जो एक सरकारी हॉस्पिटल से इशूड है. और तीसरी बात, आपका जो नाम है वो डिसेबिलिटी जो लिस्ट है जिसमें disabled indicate करना चाहिए. So if your name is not indicated as a person with disability in the voter list, you'll have to inform them, right, within 5 days.
Yeah. That is why we suggest that we can do the self identification through the Saksham app.
तो अगर आपका नाम, आप घर से वोट करना चाहते हैं और आपका नाम आगे विकलांगता लिखा इंडिकेट नहीं किया गया है, फिर आप अपना सक्षम ऐप के माध्यम से आप इन्फॉर्म कर सकते हैं कि आप विकलांग हैं और आप घर से वोट करना चाहते हैं. तो फिर इलेक्शन कमीशन से कोई आपका घर आएगा और 12D फॉर्म पे आपका भरवाएगा और आपका सिग्नेचर लेके फिर आपको घर से वोट कर सकते हैं आप.
Yeah. But there is one important information with the postal ballot, which is within 5 days of announcement of elections, this need to be done. And if we go beyond that, then the option will not be available for this. So Form 12D will be given much ahead, and we have to execute it. And in case if we don't get Form 12D at our house, it has to be provided to everybody at their homes, whoever has been mapped, and most of us would be mapped. And if we didn't get the Form 12D, then we have to intimate it to the grievance grievance cell, or through app, or to the booth level officer, something like that.
Now, thing is, if I've understood you right, the information regarding postal ballot must be informed and sealed within 5 days of announcement of
the notification yes.
हाँ, यानी कि अगर आपको घर से वोट करना है तो इलेक्शन का अनाउंसमेंट के बाद 5 दिन के अंदर अंदर आपको इलेक्शन कमीशन को इन्फॉर्म करना है कि आपको घर से वोट करना है। इसके लिए आप अगर आपका नाम ऑलरेडी है तो फॉर्म आपके पास कोई लेके आएगा, नहीं तो आप अपना सक्षम ऐप के माध्यम से आप उनको इन्फॉर्म करेंगे। और ये जो भी कार्रवाई है ये 5 दिन के अंदर ही करना है, नहीं तो फिर आपको पोलिंग बूथ जाके वोट देना होगा, और फिर आपको जो वॉलंटियर्स हो या व्हील चेयर फैसिलिटी हो, फ्री ट्रांसपोर्टेशन फैसिलिटी हो, ये सब आपको मिलेगा। पर अगर आपको घर से करना है तो ये प्रोसेस कंप्लीटली 5 दिन के अंदर आपको करना है।
Right.
And irrespective of whether you have volunteered for voting from home, the 12D will come to you?
Yes, absolutely. 12D will come to us.
Irrespective of whether we have opted for voting from on by
Yeah.
postal.
So we need not there is no platform for us to go and opt. So the form should come to us, and in case the form is not come, then we have to inform the
Election
authority.
Commission.
Yeah.
That's through the app, or you have to go there?
We can use the grievance mechanism 1950, the helpline, approach the polling booth level officer. So a different mechanism we need to try.
So grievance telephone number is 1950.
Correct.
तो अगर आपको इलेक्शन के संबंधित कोई भी चैलेंज हो या प्रॉब्लम हो, तो अगर आपको फोन से किसी को सूचित करना है, सरकार या इलेक्शन कमीशन को सूचित करना है, तो एक 1950 यानी कि 1950 है नंबर। तो ये नंबर आप सब नोट कर लीजिएगा। अगर आपको दिक्कत हो तो 1950 पे आप अपना ग्रीवेंस दर्ज कर सकते हैं। What is the other way of
through the app, also approaching the booth level officer?
So are the booth level officers available right from the time the election is announced, or they come much later?
No. From the time elections are announced, they'll be there. Even before that.
How do you know who's the booth level officer?
It's mostly our Anganwadi workers, and in the app you can get their numbers. Your nodal officers numbers will be there.
तो ये सक्षम ऐप जो है, इसके माध्यम से आप अपना कंप्लेंट्स भी दर्ज कर सकते हैं। और अगर आपको बूथ लेवल ऑफिसर्स को अपना कंप्लेंट देना है तो उनका जो नंबर और नाम और पता ये सक्षम ऐप के माध्यम से आप प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। तो ये सक्षम ऐप बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है, और 1950 नंबर भी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है।
Yeah. So from the disability movement, we also showcased different models. In Chennai, we had the first polling booth inside an Institute of Mental Health, which is first in the country. And as I said, we had the national icon for intellectual disabilities. And we also had the Election Commission office accessible with making the steps into ramps and all those things. We got accessibility division within ECI established in 2019. And we also managed to get 5,000 polling booths from upper floors to the ground floor in Maharashtra during the state elections in 2019. So these were a result of the advocacy by the disability movement from the ground at the national level.
So now this the cell in the election commission, this is at a state level, or this is at the national level?
No, it's at the national level. At the state level, we have state coordinators like the nodal officers. Now they are the state coordinators and the district coordinators. Now even the assembly constituency level, we have the coordinators, disability coordinators. And
is this their name and telephone number and things available through the Saksham app?
Yeah, the Saksham app gives the nodal officers contact details.
Okay. तो अभी हमारे जानकारी के लिए ये है कि जो ECI है, इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ जो इलेक्शन कमीशन के अंतर्गत राष्ट्रीय लेवल पर एक डिसेबिलिटी सेल है जो डिसेबिलिटी इंक्लूजन यानी कि सुगम्य इलेक्शन के लिए जिम्मेदारी है और वो इनिशिएटिव लेते हैं। इसी प्रकार स्टेट लेवल पे भी रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं और हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे नोडल ऑफिसर्स हैं, जैसे पहले कहा गया था। और इन सभी लोगों के बारे में जानकारी आपको ये सक्षम ऐप के थ्रू मिलेगा। एंड पिछले 5 सालों में कई फर्क डेवलपमेंट्स हैं, जैसे कि करीब 5,000 पोलिंग बूथ्स जो ऊपरी फर्स्ट फ्लोर सेकंड फ्लोर पे हुआ करता था, वो सब नीचे ग्राउंड फ्लोर तक लाया गया है। इसी प्रकार चेन्नई में एक इलेक्शन बूथ एक इंटेलेक्चुअल सॉरी
इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेंटल हेल्थ
इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेंटल हेल्थ के अंदर एक पोलिंग बूथ का रखा गया, ताकि विकलांग लोग जो मानसिक रूप से विकलांग है वो वहाँ से वोट करें। तो कई ऐसे सुधार हुए हैं और भी सुधार होने का चांसेस हैं अब जैसे जैसे हम आगे जाएंगे। और इस सब में जो सुधार हुआ है उसमें विकलांग लोग या दिव्यांग लोगों का जो मूवमेंट है उसका बड़ा हाथ है, यानी कि हम लोग सब इस सुधार का जो मामला है इसमें हमारा योगदान देना बहुत जरूरी है। So if we want to, as people with disability, we want to kind of suggest or demand for changes, how do we do it? Do we do it through the app and 1950, or are there other platforms also?
No. So if we want any change, or if we want to collaborate with the election machinery, we need to approach the state chief electoral officer or the district electoral officer. Recently, ECI have issued a notification to all the state CEOs, chief electoral officers, on 3rd August to carry out the accessible facilitations for persons with disabilities for the upcoming elections. So we can advocate with that. We can take from there. We can also monitor the access checklist which ECA have provided, and whether every assembly constituency is following the checklist, and whether the checklist has been fulfilled and submitted, and if any issues are found, if are they rectified. So these monitoring aspects also we can
Call you.
And we can also connect with the disability coordinators at the state level and district level and the assembly constituency level, and work with them. Like the entire disability movement in Punjab was engaged in access audits of all polling booths, every polling booths. So it has to be with the collaboration of us people with disabilities in the community. And there are various factors like the mapping of persons with disabilities in polling station, or enrollment. So all these things can be monitored apart from accessibility of polling stations, and also to be part of the committees. Monitor the committee and see if there are enough people with disabilities in the committee. Ask for inclusion of more people with disabilities in the committees, and ask for the the reports of the discussion of the committees. So we can be vigilant in engaging ourselves in all these aspects.
So what you're saying is that we, as people with disability, can approach the district and state level election commissions,
yes,
and give our suggestions, and also participate in the monitoring of the election process. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, yeah. We need to advocate, because it has to be people's participation is must. So we need to push for that. We need to advocate, and we need to collaborate with the chief electoral officers and the district electoral officers.
तो इनका कहना है कि हम लोग दिव्यांग लोग हैं और हम लोग देश के नागरिक हैं, और हमें सुगम्य चुनाव चाहिए। तो इसके लिए हमें भी अपना योगदान देना बहुत ज़रूरी है। स्टेट लेवल और डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल में जो इलेक्शन कमीशन के जो दफ्तरें हैं वहाँ पर उन लोगों के साथ इंटरेक्ट करें, उनको अगर हमारे पास कोई सुझाव है बदलाव का या कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट का, वो हम दे सकते हैं। इसी प्रकार जो इलेक्शन प्रणाली अगर सुगम्य हो और उसको मॉनिटर करना है, तो हमें ये भी मांग करना है कि अगर हमें उस पे हमें शामिल होना है, या और भी ज़्यादा दूसरे लोग हम सजेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, वो भी हम कर सकते हैं। और बहुत ज़रूरी है कि ये हमारे देश के जो इलेक्शन प्रणाली सुगम्य बनाने के लिए और सुगम्य बरकरार कर रखने के लिए हम विकलांग लोगों इस आंदोलन में शामिल होना और एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है।
Yeah. So finally, what we need to keep in mind, the basic information is who are voters with disabilities. All 21 categories of disabilities can be voters with disabilities. And the eligibility is we need to be an Indian citizen and 18 years of age and above. While enrollment, we have to, the form is Form 6, which is used for voter enrollment, and it is available at polling stations or with the EROs and with the BLOs, or we can even enroll online. And for name deletion, we have to use Form 7, and any addition we have to use Form 8.
Okay, let me just say this. इलेक्शन के लिए 21 जो बेंचमार्क डिसेबिलिटीज हैं जो RPWD एक्ट में आइडेंटिफाई किया है, ये सभी लोग वोट दे सकते हैं। सिर्फ ये है कि वो भारत के नागरिक होना जरूरी है, और दूसरी बात 18 साल से ऊपर होना जरूरी है। और अगर आपका नाम वोटिंग लिस्ट में नहीं है तो आप फॉर्म 6 भरिए। अगर आपको वोटिंग लिस्ट से फॉर्म 7 अगर आपको अपने वोटर साइट लिस्ट से आपका नाम बदलना डिलीट करना चाहते हैं तो फॉर्म 7 भरेंगे। एंड व्हाट इज फॉर्म 8 फॉर?
एडिटिंग योर डिटेल्स।
अगर आपको अपना डिटेल्स जो है उसको एडिट करना है तो वो फॉर्म 8 को आप फिल करेंगे। ये सब ब्लॉक BDO जो BLO जो ऑफिसर्स हैं उनके पास ये फॉर्म्स अवेलेबल है। ये आप वहां से कर सकते हैं, या डिस्ट्रिक्ट इलेक्शन ऑफिस में जा सकते हैं, या आप ये फॉर्म्स ऑनलाइन भी आप एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। यू कैन ऑल्सो फिल दिस ऑनलाइन, राइट?
Yes.
Yeah, so shall we just open the floor for questions if people have any questions? Is there any significant point that you have missed out so far, or?
Yeah, so I would quickly touch upon all the facilitations, especially for people with visual impairment, like the assured minimum facilities are basically accessible polling stations with ramps and handrails, and there are these braille candidate sheet available at the polling station. Apart from braille signages in the EVM itself, and there should be adequate lighting inside the polling station. Signages should be there, direction symbols, and toilets should be accessible, drinking water should be there, help desk and medical kits should be there. So these are part of the assured minimum facilities of any polling station.
तो हर पोलिंग स्टेशन में wheelchair also is mandatory, right? Wheelchairs should be available, right?
Yeah, wheelchairs or other facilities. So assured minimum facilities have these.
Volunteers also are part of the assured facilities. Volunteers.
No. Assured minimum facility is accessible polling stations, braille candidate sheet and braille EVM, lighting, signage, toilet, accessible toilet, drinking water, help desk, medical kit.
Okay, I'm going to just repeat them one by one just in case I missed. एक तो रैंप होना जरूरी है, हैंड रेल्स होना जरूरी है, ब्रेल इलेक्शन कैंडिडेट शीट होना जरूरी है, ब्रेल EVMs होना, यानी by braille EVMs you mean the buttons will have braille notations on it. Is that what you mean by braille?
Yes, correct.
So braille जो EVMs है उसके ऊपर braille notations होना जरूरी है। फिर लाइटिंग जो है वो लो विजन और पार्शली ब्लाइंड लोगों के लिए एडिक्वेट होना जरूरी है। पानी का प्रावधान होना जरूरी है, मेडिकल फर्स्ट एड किट्स का होना जरूरी है, एक्सेसिबल टॉयलेट्स होना जरूरी है। So these are some of the assured basic minimum facilities that has to be offered in every polling station.
other facilitations as per the EC notifications are priority in queue. Like if you are a person with disability, you should be given priority to enter, and wheelchairs should be there, volunteers should be there, as we saw earlier, parking should be available for people with disabilities, then polling stations should be on the ground floor, and transport should be available. And apart from that, we should be allowed to take our companion. If you can opt a companion in two ways. If you want the polling station volunteer, then you can ask for that, and the polling station volunteer can accompany you. Otherwise, you can take your own companion from home or your own friend. If you want your companion to help you in voting, then there is this rule 49N, which they have to sign, a form they have to sign, and they will be allowed to support you in voting. Otherwise, they won't be allowed to assist you in the voting compartment. They will be able to help you only till the voting compartment.
So this 49N has to be signed on the spot, or you have to sign it in advance?
On the spot by the companion.
Okay. तो ये वोटिंग जो है, इसमें क्यू में आपको प्रेफरेंस दिया जाएगा, यानी कि अगर लंबा सा लाइन है तो आपको प्रेफरेंस, विकलांग लोगों को क्यू में ठहरने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, वो लोग सीधा जा सकते हैं। और ये जो अगर आपको कोई कंपेनियन की ज़रूरत है जो आपको सपोर्ट करें, तो आप एक तो वॉलंटियर को आप रिक्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं। अगर वॉलंटियर नहीं चाहिए और आपको अपना खुद का वॉलंटियर चाहिए, आपका जो कंपेनियन चाहिए, तो फिर वो आपके साथ जा सकता है। पर अगर वोटिंग प्रोसेस में भी आपको उनका मदद चाहिए ये एक्चुअल बटन दबाने के लिए, तो फिर 49N फॉर्म है जो पोलिंग बूथ्स में अवेलेबल है। आपका जो हेल्पर या कंपेनियन या जो दोस्त आपके साथ हैं या आपका रिश्तेदार जो आपके साथ है एज अ कंपेनियन, वो लोग ये फॉर्म 49N को ऑन द स्पॉट साइन करना होगा, जिसके बाद द कंपेनियन विल बी अलाउड, कंपेनियन आपके साथ अंदर जा सकते हैं और आपको मदद कर सकते हैं वोट डालने में।
It's a form based on rule 49N.
ये फॉर्म 49N नहीं है, ये रूल 49 के अंतर्गत एक फॉर्म है।
Right. And a recent notification also mentioned that the political parties should also be briefed on making their activities and materials accessible for people with disabilities, including, information and communication system.
तो अभी जो लेटेस्ट notification, this is a new notification, is it?
Yes. Recently, the 3rd August notification.
3rd अगस्त में जो नोटिफिकेशन आया है, उसमें साफ कहा गया है कि हर राजनीतिक पार्टी जो है, जो उनका जो इंफॉर्मेशन प्रचार वगैरह है, जो वो दे शुड बी मेड अवेलेबल इन एन एक्सेसिबल फॉर्मेट फॉर ऑल पीपल विद डिसेबिलिटी। सारे विकलांग लोगों को एक सुगम्य रूप से ये प्रचार और अवेयरनेस और उनका जो गतिविधियां हैं उसके बारे में सूचना विकलांग लोगों को भी प्राप्त होना जरूरी है।
It's not really a mandatory aspect, but the parties need to be briefed about it and should be motivated to adopt this accessible practice.
हालांकि ये इस वक्त अनिवार्य नहीं है, पर इलेक्शन कमीशन का डायरेक्शन ये है कि हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को इसके बारे में जानकारी यानी कि ब्रीफिंग करना बहुत जरूरी है, ताकि वो अपने प्रचार में दिव्यांग या विकलांग लोगों को भी शामिल करे।
Yeah, and finally, the grievance, as said, helpline number is 1950, or we can approach the control room. Every district will have a control room, and during the elections time, the districts will announce a WhatsApp number, a mobile number, or a control room number, which we can avail. And we can also provide grievance through the PWD app or through the presiding officer at the polling station.
Oh, the presiding officer and the control rooms will be functional from when?
Presiding officer is on the day of polling, because
okay. And the control room? Control
room would be functional from the announcement of elections.
तो अगर आपका कोई ग्रीवेंस है, यानी कि कोई शिकायत है और आप इसको दर्ज करना चाहते हैं, तो कई जरिए हैं। एक तो 1950 नंबर है 1950, या सक्षम ऐप है,
yes.
या जब अनाउंस होता है, इलेक्शन अनाउंस होता है, तो हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में इलेक्शन कंट्रोल ऑफिस होता है, वहां पर आप जाके अपना शिकायत दर्ज कर सकते हैं, या इलेक्शन के दिवस या इलेक्शन के दिन जो प्रिसाइडिंग ऑफिसर है पोलिंग बूथ में, उनको आप अपना शिकायत दे सकते हैं. सो दीज आर द वेरियस शिकायत दर्ज करने का ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल का मैकेनिज्म्स है ये.
Please don't forget to verify your name in the electoral roll. You can verify it through the CEO's website, Chief Electoral Officer's website, or by asking the BLO, looking at the polling booth list, or even through the Saksham app.
और इलेक्शन से पहले आप अपना नाम एक बार वेरीफाई करिएगा कि आपका नाम वाकई में इलेक्शन वोटर्स लिस्ट में है कि नहीं. ये आप चीफ इलेक्शन ऑफिसर का वेबसाइट से आप पता कर सकते हैं, या ब्लॉक, व्हाट इज BLO स्टैंड फॉर? ब्लॉक लेवल ऑफिसर. बूथ लेवल ऑफिसर के सौजन्य से प्राप्त कर सकते हैं, या अपना जो सक्षम ऐप है उसके माध्यम से आप पता कर सकते हैं, वेरीफाई कर सकते हैं कि आपका नाम लिस्ट में है कि नहीं, क्योंकि इसमें भी बदलाव हो सकता है कि आपका नाम छूट जाए. तो ये रहा संक्षेप में सुगम्य इलेक्शन के बारे में जानकारी. तो अगर आप सवाल कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं तो आप अपना हाथ ऊपर कर सकते हैं, Alt Y दबाते हुए, और फिर सना आपको अनम्यूट करेंगे और आप अपना सवाल पूछ सकते हैं इंग्लिश या हिंदी में. आप चैट बॉक्स में भी आपका क्वेश्चन डाल सकते हैं. आई थिंक रोहित त्रिवेदी हैड आस्क्ड अ क्वेश्चन इन द चैट बॉक्स. सना.
Yes, I have allowed him to unmute.
Okay. तो कौन पहला सवाल पूछ? Who's asking the first question?
Can you unmute and ask your question?
Yes, Mahinur Ali. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Hey, Mehnur is asking the first question. So Mehnur,
This is Rohit.
Okay, okay, Rohit, you can ask your question.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you, and George. We are having elections in 4 states now, and I wanted to know
5 states.
whether all these provisions will be applied here as well in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Telangana,
Yes.
And
yes.
Mizoram. And Mizoram.
and Mizoram also. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as we are
Your,
not seeing very
your voice is not being heard consistently, Rohit. You'll need to just ask your question again, making sure the mic is in place.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay. But here we do not see adequate activity regarding awareness, and maybe if we approach people, then they are busy in getting other arrangements made, that probably we feel that not much is being done, or whether these provisions are being followed up. The
Right. So, these are the notifications and the directions from the Election Commission of India to the states. And, about the implementation, as civil society, we should also collaborate, and we have to keep on reporting about any non-implementation, and we have to collaborate on towards implementation also. So we need to be a watchdog as well as supporters in this entire process. And if civil society is not really involved in the electoral process, accessible elections process, then many things don't get realized at the ground level. So we need to have our strong voice.
So can we have everything at one place, maybe a kind of booklet where all the notification, all the checklists are there at one place, so that it becomes easier for us to kind of, because we do get notifications through our WhatsApp group or somewhere from other places also. But if everything is there at one place, it will be easier, maybe on Election Commission website or somewhere.
Yeah, so it is available in the ECI website also. You can look into the strategic framework on accessible elections, which is available in the website. And apart from that, what I would suggest is the recent notification from ECI to the State Election Commission, the state chief electoral officers, which was sent on August 3rd. Please look into that notification, because that is the recent notification which the states are bound to work on. So we need to advocate towards the implementation of that notification, which I can share. I can share it with George, and he'll be able to share it with you all.
Okay. I think it must be there in the WhatsApp group that we have created for accessible elections. So if you can share it
correct.
again.
Correct. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I can share it once again.
Yes, please. That would be, and it almost covers all those things which had been
Yeah.
um, uh,
Yes.
communicated earlier also. So it is
Yes.
comprehensive
Absolutely.
enough to accommodate everything, kind of.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, great. And at your end, can you um, also talk to Election Commission whether is this notification is yeah, I mean im implemented properly or not in all the other states where elections are going on. So
Yeah. So as the
So,
disability community, we all have to come together, and we need to
right.
send representations so that it is taken seriously by the ECI.
Okay.
Rohit, Rohit, like for example, the 1995 Act and now the RPWD Act, it's simply the government has passed the app and the government has given instructions, but the app doesn't, the act doesn't get, it doesn't get
Yes.
applied. So we have to keep fighting for it, and we'll have to keep putting pressure at our end also. So I
Yes.
think the responsibility. That's why she said in the beginning that the people, disability community, has to be actively involved. Otherwise, the rules will remain only on paper.
Yeah. Yeah. So all these notifications is a success of the disability community. We have been advocating, and that is why we could get these notifications, right?
Right.
And we
Right.
could set up the committees so that our people are involved in the decision-making process at the district level and at the state, the assembly constituency level itself. So like that, we need to keep on working, collaborating.
Okay, perfectly.
Thank you, Rohit. Mehnur, you have a question?
Yeah. Yeah. So, first of all, I would like to thank George sir and his dedicated team, and Smitha ma'am, for this informative session on accessible elections. To introduce myself, I am a postgraduate in mathematics from IIT Delhi, and I'm a visually impaired person with 100% visual impairment. So my question is that we have seen a lot of development regarding how these elections are becoming accessible. So my question is, what about the right to get elected, right? The right to vote is there, fine, but as a democracy, we also have the right to get elected.
Absolutely.
Right, as we remember what Dr. Ambedkar said, and how he got the representations of the SCs and subsequently the ST community, and which is and we can see how they are now they are developing themselves, right? So so I want to know what awareness is being created, and what steps are being taken like for the reservation for persons with disabilities in the, like, from top from down to bottom top approach, like from the very panchayat level up to the parliament. And if this thing is done, then this normal method of elections of getting voted like will work, or the method which was introduced by the British for the minority communities in the first half of the 20th century, that is separate electorate, will work. So kindly
got it.
enlighten.
Yeah, got it. So Smitha, what would you say to this?
Yeah. So, the disability community is lobbying for this, and we have been representing to the government, to the president, or, at different levels towards a reservation for people with disabilities in the political process, in the parliamentarian status, or at the assembly constituency level also. Whereas the Election Commission of India, during its 2018 national consultation, had this discussion also along with the MPs. They brought the MPs and the politicians during the consultation day, and this was also discussed. And this was a key recommendation arrived at by the disability community there also. And now again, we have been working towards this, and all of us should join hands together. And in the local elections, like the local body elections, a couple of states have given some reservations, like Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan have given some reservations for people with disabilities in the local body elections. So that needs to be replicated in all the other states as well.
Yeah, and just to add to what you said, there's a gentleman called Sadhan Gupta, who in the 1950s had from the Communist Party of India won election from Calcutta to the Lok Sabha. I think Javed Abidi had stood for elections in Delhi in 1 year, but I don't think he made it. I think Santosh Rungta had stood for elections at some point of time.
Yeah.
And then there was
Suvarna Raj stood for elections.
Yeah,
So
Suvarna Raj stood for elections, and I think right now for in the Madhya Pradesh elections, I know that there's a guy called Sonu Golkar who's totally blind, who is likely to be standing on a BJP ticket for elections for the Legislative Assembly. So there are people with disability who are aware of this and who want to stand for election. Now, just standing as a general candidate with a party is going to be difficult, because unless you are a person who's not just only focused on disability, but focused on the entire community, because to win elections, you need the support of the entire community, and you can't be just one dimension, which is disability focused. So that is one. Now, as far as reserved candidate seats are concerned, I think that you have a point there, and that will take time. But I think disability community has to lobby for it strongly.
Correct. And we have international examples also. So Armenia or different other countries have reservations and people with disabilities as their parliamentarians. So we need to put that forward and in our advocacy strategy. And with regard to the local body elections, our friends are pretty successful. Even in Tamil Nadu, recent local body elections, we had a handful of people with disabilities who got elected for the panchayat offices.
On a lighter note, most of the politicians and people who are ruling Afghanistan are all disabled. They are all the Taliban. They have all been injured. I think some of them have their hands cut off. Somebody doesn't have fingers. Somebody is blind in one eye. But they are all in a lighter vein, So anyway. Okay, there are 3 participants who have raised their hands.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Smitha. Thanks for the presentation. Excellent. Just 2 practical questions. So one is, you mentioned about the Braille voter card. So is it still available? It was just done on a pilot basis, and how can one apply? And my second question is, as a visually impaired person, when we go to this polling booth on the voting day, how do we identify the buttons, or where is the, braille? Because, there's no orientation, number one. Number two is we are also scared whether, any button gets pressed by mistake or something. So any orientation there?
Right.
Yeah.
So in an EVM, there are these 16 buttons, and on the total right corner, against each button, the braille numerals will be there. So if you touch the braille numeral, you will know what number button is there, is adjacent to that. And candidate sheet will also be in braille, which you can sense and touch and read. And what was the other question? The Braille Epic. For Braille Epic is issued by the district electoral officer. So you approach your, district collector and have a camp. Say that so many people with visual impairment are yet to have the Braille voter ID card, and then whoever is left out, they would be issued the Braille voter ID card soon.
Thank you, Praveen.
Next, we have M. Srinivaslu.
Yeah,
Hello.
Mr. Srinivasan.
How are you? Good evening to all.
Good evening.
Smitha ji, how are you?
Yeah, good. Please tell me.
Okay, you are always inspired. We are fighting with our local CEO regularly.
We
So,
need
sir,
not
what's your
fight.
question?
We can show the strategy, the strategic framework on accessible elections, which clearly mentions about CSO participation, and also the recent notification, because it says that information should be provided to stakeholders and other things. So just ask for collaboration, keep pushing. So we will get there.
Hello. Are you hearing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. From 2004, we are advocating an election issue. What you reminded Javed Abidi and some people is contested. The same line, 2004, we are contesting two chief ministers area. One Chandrababu Naidu, one Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy. From 2004, all election time, we are very seriously advocating. But 2018, we are professionally fighting with CEO with consultation and cooperation of our Smitha ji. So only one important our observation, field observation, the person with disability voters not identified at polling booth level. That is a very serious concern on me, because okay, you are giving a travel up and down, and you are giving accessibility. It is okay. It is my feeling is it is a main. Sometimes it is secondary, but empowerment means visibility is very important. Suppose what happened in Telangana. Telangana is declared 5.550 lakhs, 5.5 lakhs, 5 lakhs 50,000 voters. But the political people, what we say so many times, we are 10 lakhs above voters. We are, as per 2011 census, clearly says that officially 10 lakhs 56,000 persons with disabilities. Okay, minus of 20% children, 80%. And nearly 8 lakhs voters is there. But election commission identified only 5.5. But we are losing of our empowerment. The political people are looking a little bit light. So my request is, all person with disability should identify at polling booth level. Then only political people concentrated, and political disabled persons also is having getting a good empowerment.
Yeah.
That is the one demand I am fighting from last 4 months, 4-5 years. Even we filed the High Court. In bill, election committee submit a bundle circulars. We are giving this and many provisions. But what you said, district committees no, state committee no, constitutional committee no. But we are what you said is only in the paper. And also my observation, seriously, Smitha ji, these months only election commission is working very serious. What about 4.5 years they are doing? 5 years commission. Yesterday we asked same commission members. So Assistant Commissioner says that we have no time. Even 2008 also said that no time. So my request is seriously, national level to advocate and campaign on identification is very important.
Yeah.
This is
So
my
that is
request
why
I am
we are
fighting.
we are also making collective representations on that, and you are also part of that. And we need to push the district level officers, district electoral officer. Just instead of going and meeting the CEO, if you can go and meet the district electoral officers, and at the ground level, they are working on the mapping of persons with disabilities, identifying people with disabilities. So that would really give a good result, is what I think.
But at district level, Smitaji, district level says that state election commission direction we want. State election commission
Yeah.
says that okay, we'll see. And the second thing is, yesterday we have one demand we submitted political speeches not in sign language. Suppose what saying BJP, what saying Congress, what saying opposite parties, we don't know sign language. They say that we want the direction from ECI, Delhi. This is the problem.
Yeah,
Right,
here
right.
I think what you mentioned earlier, Smitha, was that this is not mandatory. The election commission only briefed the political parties that they should be accessible. So I think the next step of advocacy would be that the election
Mandatory.
campaigns have to be mandatorily accessible,
Yeah.
so that people with different disabilities are able to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And the other point which Mr. Srinivaslu raised, I think. Yes, a lot of stuff is on paper, and I think we have to aggressively approach the relevant authority and make our contribution towards the change happening. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
even the RPWD Act, most of it is on paper. The various things which various operations which the government is supposed to do on its own is all on paper, and nothing really happens, or they give additional charge to people, which means that nothing is going to happen.
Correct.
So like the CCPD right now is additional charge, RCI chairman is additional charge.
Yeah.
The national whatever that for mental health, that is again additional charge. All these organizations are arms of the government for disability are become defunct. So I think as long as people with disability don't put pressure at the right levels, it will continue to be that way. So I think a lot of
Absolutely.
responsibilities with us, because at the end of the day, we need the facilities. So those of us who have the skills and the capabilities, I think should fight. Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Completely agree with you.
Any other questions? Sana, any other questions?
No, sir, there are no raised hands. This
there are
one,
two-
Mayank Sharma.
Mayank Sharma, yeah.
Sorry, thanks a lot for the session, ma'am. Just a quick check. So you said 12D form comes to us, right? What format? Is it like a physical form, or is it something that is in a digital format that we can fill around?
No, as of now, it is a hard
form.
copy, and it will come to our house. The officials will bring it to our house, and you can take the support of your family member to fill it, or they can also fill it for yourself. And once you fill it, then they in next few days, couple of days, they would bring the ballot box, and where you can execute your franchise very secure way.
Thank you. One more question. So, yeah, you said the candidate sheet is available in Braille for, again, someone who does not know Braille. Are there any alternatives that we can actually access to for the candidate list here?
So you can check the app. The app should have the candidate names in in the readable version. And if it is not there, some issues are there, then we need to raise it again, because in the previous elections, what we saw is the candidate sheet didn't was only an image, and it was not really in readable format. And so we tried to make the readable version, and we circulated it, and we shared it with the ECA also, and ECA also promoted it. So these kind of aspects also were done in the previous years, and now we see that the app has made things accessible, and in case there may be tech faults anytime, then we need to immediately raise it to the ECI and through our networks, and see for other alternate aspects.
Yeah, no, but my next question, I think, and earlier Praveen's question also was, when you are in the election, in the voting booth or in the polling booth, the machine is in front of you, and you don't know Braille. So the Braille sheet is of no use to you. Neither is the Braille notation on the polling, the EVM. So in such situations, what is the kind of assistance you can seek? Is that right?
Yeah, so you
Mayank?
need to, the candidate list.
Yes.
Candidate list is already available in the website, whereas it is not in accessible format. So the app is giving it in accessible format, which we can,
No, but
access.
will the names on the EVM be in the same sequence?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Suppose there are 18 candidates,
In that particular constancy.
so how do you know which button is going to be relevant to whom?
So you are reading the list already in the app, right? And you know the number. So in the accordingly, you have to touch that particular number, and the adjacent button will be that particular
But
candidate.
you don't know Braille. So how do you know what number?
Okay, so it is just the numerals, and in that case, you have to take the support of somebody.
So that's where you you'll have to avail of Rule 49N.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, there's somebody else who's also raised the hand.
It was M. Srinivasu only.
No, he's finished. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Smitha, thank you very much for giving such a detailed narrative on the election. Acha, Javed wants to ask a question. Javed from Kashmir. Javed, why don't you unmute
Thank you.
yourself and ask? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to everyone. Samita, it was really an eye-opening session. We enjoyed a lot. Thanks to Eyeway organizers, especially George, sir. Always inspiring. Actually, I want to know 2-3 points way forward from you, because you are now an best icon for disability sector. You are working all along with or parallelly with the Election Commission of India for accessible electioneering. What should be the way forward, and what do you suggest for the state icons, state leaders to do for the accessible elections?
So we need to come together. Unity is strength, and keep, be visible. We have to keep on being visible and putting up strong representations in the public. If we are not succeeding with the electoral offices, the election department, we should go public and and ask for our rights. Ideally, that's the only way.
डू द धरना स्मिता जी, धरना कर सकते हैं इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफिस के पास?
No comments, please.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think we've had a very enriching session, and we'll have this video put up on YouTube. So if anybody wants to go back and refer, and Smitha, you said you would share the kind of the key points on bullet format of the facilities that are available, so that can be shared easily. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for giving the time and taking the trouble of speaking to us. And thank you very much, everybody. Half the people who have logged in have moved away now, but it was a very enlivening session, and I was personally quite enlightened by the session. So thank you very much, Smitha, for your time and the knowledge you shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, George, for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to talk about elections, as most of us are passionately working towards it. And yes, we all will get everything. Total accessibility in electoral process should not be just a dream, but it should be a reality soon, and all of us should work together on that. Thank you very much.
Also for